So this whole denial thing, perfect timing, and I'll try to make it quick here. So I had this friend who was going through a lot of bad things and kind of kept denying them and that they weren't true and all this stuff. And it finally all kind of stacked up, and he ended up committing suicide. And so I was really thinking about this thing about denial. And so what I'm curious about with that is, I thought, well, maybe if he had acknowledged the truth and then ignored it, that's different than denying it. Or, it seems like a really fine line. It's like he denied that he had all these problems to the point where they cut his lights out, they, repossessed his car, they did all these things, but he was very good at not paying any attention to it. And so I thought, well, this is kind of interesting to watch this guy, because I'll be interested to see how this thing works out for him, because this is pretty powerful stuff he's doing by denying this. And then in the end, it really ended up kind of catching up with him.
Well, first of all, here's that death thing.
Yeah.
In other words, the way you tell the story, and we understand why you do it, but it sounds as if this horrible death came in response. In other words, it was just more of the same horrible stuff. And what we would like to say to you instead is that it was the only way that he could find the relief that he was looking for. But that's hard to hear, so let us tell you a broader version of this explanation. It's difficult to know from an outside perspective what anybody else is feeling. Mm-hmm. And often people offer words that you would describe as denial, but it doesn't change the way they are actually feeling.
Okay.
What we're talking about here is not talking about ignoring. It's talking about being keenly aware of the way you feel and doing something about it. You remember earlier when we were talking about when you say yes to something, you include it in your vibration. And when you say no to something, you include it in your vibration. So the more you push against what you do not want, the more you hold yourself in vibrational alignment with it. So when someone's saying, no, this isn't happening, or no, I'm not wrong, what they're actually doing is keeping active in their vibration the very thing that somebody who they are offering the denial to is focused upon. So we're not talking about denial in the literal Webster's dictionary sense. We're talking about wanting so much the relief from where you are that you, in a very hands-on way, reach for a thought that gives you relief. That's far from denial. That is the most exaggerated example of dealing with something and doing the only thing that you can do about it. Yes. People get themselves in a sort of trap where they want it to be different than it is, but they don't know what to do about it. People often are wanting to know what to do, and we say it's not about doing, it's about shifting feeling. People will say to us, I want to be over there, or I want such and such to happen. How can I get there? And we say, well, never mind about action, just try to change the way you feel. And they say, no, I want to know what to do. I need to know what I need to do to get there. And we say, it's not about doing, it's about shifting the way you feel. And so the word denial is often applied to refusing to take action, where we're not ever encouraging much attention to action anyway. We're encouraging that you do get hold of the way you feel, and you do something about the way you feel, and that you do insist on finding a thought that feels better. If that person could have gotten angry, he would have felt the relief from his despair. And if someone had been able to guide him from anger into frustration, he would have then been able to make the jump all the way to what he wanted, you see. But do not feel uncomfortable about somebody making their transition into non-physical. As we said earlier, it is the ultimate quantum leap.
Yes. Yeah, because I felt like his vibration, although he was denying these things were true, his vibration was still vibrating to this fear about
Well, we
what
do
would
not
happen.
believe that he was really denying that things were true. How could he deny that his lights were being turned off? What he was denying was blame for it. In other words, what he was trying to say to everyone is, this can't be my fault. What he was saying to everyone is, I'm powerless in doing anything about it. What his denial was about was, I cannot do anything about this, so you all just need to leave me alone. Mm-hmm. But we do not think that he was in denial about it happening. We just don't think he knew what to do about it.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting about people who make a deliberate decision and make their transition is something that is always true, is that their desire to feel good is more powerful than almost anyone you know. They sort of hit the ground running with this desire to feel good. And when circumstances feel out of control and they cannot find their way to that, they take it harder than others. And so they behave in ways that seem more drastic or dramatic. But we really want you to understand that every death is suicide, no matter what, because every death comes only by self-inflicted offering of vibration, every single time. So whether you call it the deliberate taking of a gun and putting it to your head, or the indeliberate seeming getting run over by a truck, or the attraction of a disease, everything is your creation. You are responsible for the way it happens to you. And we do not say responsible in the sense that you need to clean up your act. We say responsible in the sense that you have the power to let it be the way you want. The reason that we teach deliberate creation is because it is so wonderful to understand the laws of the universe and to understand who you really are, and then to be working within this environment where you get to guide things. If you were a sculptor sculpting clay, you would not take a big glob of clay and splat it down and say, oh, it didn't turn out right. You would enjoy the molding of it. You would learn by doing. You'd get better and better at it. And when you got something done, you wouldn't set it over there and say, there, that equals me. People say, oh, you are a magnificent sculptor. I see your work of art. And you say, yes, that's mine. That's me. And you say, what are you working on now? And you say, nothing. There it is. That is what I've accomplished. You innately are always wanting to create something that is more. And you powerfully, at many levels of your being, know that you are supposed to feel good. And sometimes when what you are looking at is so opposite of what you innately know should be, the disconnect is just dramatic enough that you quantum leap.
Yeah, I guess I found it interesting in watching this happen because I thought, wow, he really is not focusing on all these negative things that are happening to him. This will be interesting to see how this works out. He's either a master at, deliberate creation because he is not letting any of that in, or he's not. Do you see what I'm saying?
We do, but again, we want to say that it is a tricky track when you say that death is the ultimate negative result of someone who is
so maybe
disconnected.
He was the master.
Because death is the ultimate connection to source energy. That's why we say you are extensions of source energy. And when we talk about connection, your connection to source is not like a college degree that once you achieve it, it is yours forevermore. It either is or it isn't in the moment.
So then why wouldn't we all just croak right now?
Because there is so much satisfaction. Sometimes as we have a gathering like this and we talk about the deliciousness of death, we encourage you not to run and jump off of buildings after the seminar, because there is immediate relief and release. No matter where you are vibrationally in your physical form, the death experience is delicious in every case. But the reason that you want to be here in this physical environment is because as delicious as that death experience is as the ultimate relief of resistance, there is nothing more exhilarating than to have had your focused environment stimulate within you a desire and be in a place of non-resistance and having the energy that creates worlds flowing through you toward the creation of that. In other words, there is nothing more exhilarating than to be the creator that you have come forth to be. Yes. And when you get in sync with that, you know that. It is astonishing to some of our Abraham students to listen to us coaching people into anger. And then we say, well, if you were only frustrated, we would not coach you into anger. We are always coaching you into a vibration of lesser resistance and more allowance with who you are. But that's why, unless you are understanding emotions, what other people are doing and why they are doing makes no sense to you. And humans are all the time wanting to find actions and categorize them as right and wrong. And that is impossible. That is like saying, my house is on fire, and the firemen come, and they bring their big trucks and hoses, and they break out the windows, and they spray the water around, and it is a wonderful thing that they have extinguished the fire. But if they come on a day when there is no fire, and they break out your windows, and they spray water around, it is not such a good thing. And you say, but it is the same action. And we say, yes, but logically, there are many other factors involved. And that's why there are always many factors involved in what all of you are living. And that's why nobody else can guide you. Only you can guide you. And that's why nobody gets to say whether what he was doing was right or wrong, even in his choosing of death as a suicide experience. Nobody gets to say. Only he knows. And we would say his desire to feel relief became so powerful that became the path of least resistance. It is worrisome, we know. Sometimes we talk so glowingly about death, and we are not encouraging suicide, but we are not discouraging powerful choices either, because we have the advantage of broader view. It's sort of like going to a movie with a friend, and the friend sort of influenced the movie that you see, and as you get into it, it's not pleasing you, it's annoying you, it is uncomfortable to you. So you say to your friend, I'll see you later. And you get up and you just walk out of the movie. Your release from this physical experience from the broader standpoint is not more dramatic than that.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, I think I'll turn my attention to this. But so many people worry so much about so much, and they fear so much about so much, and they push so hard against so many things that they bring themselves to lives that don't feel that good. And then the trap of all traps is that they don't know which is worse, the misery that they have come to as they've practiced these thoughts, or the fear of death that is even greater. And so then they hold themselves in that discomfort. We want you to lighten up. We want you to love yourselves more. We want you to laugh more and look for more reasons to feel good. We want you to get up every morning and let the first 5 most important things on your list be 5 things that you are very sure will feel good to you when you do them. We want you to take your walks and take your baths and have your massage if you want one, and eat the things that taste good and think the thoughts that feel good, and put on your list a time of meditation if it gives you relief, and call the people that always uplift you, and read the magazines that are stimulating, and turn on the television programs that make you laugh. Do your best to serve yourself by finding first the things that make you feel good as you focus upon them, and then do anything else in the day that you have time for. And if you let that be your path, nothing is more important than you feel good, what begins to happen is you begin to be the you that you really are. You begin to be the lover that you are. You begin to be the appreciator that you are. You begin to be the balanced person, the coordinated person, the good-timed person. You begin to be the good-humored person. You begin to be the uplifter that you are. And under those conditions, you say, more, I want more of this. More opportunity to engage, more opportunity to explain, more opportunity to play, more opportunity to expand, more opportunity to move forward. There is no ending to that which you are. It's just time for you to get on with the joyous journey that you are all about. You are supposed to feel good. Life is supposed to be good to you, and will be good to you. Just relax. There is great love here for you. We are complete.